Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of what is in our stand today. Today, we're going to work on my personal bike. It's after hours and I have the good fortune of having one of my customers that is helping me with the camera, so we won't have the rough transitions we normally have. So anyway, before we get started on my bottom bracket issue, please subscribe to the channel, like it, and hit that notification bell so that you know when I post another video. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do today. On my bike, yesterday, Tuesday, went out for a ride and I started hearing some creaking and I was like, oh geez, I haven't had this bottom bracket in here that long. Well, I looked at my Strava, which by the way, in the description you can see that you can follow me on Strava. I looked at my Strava and it was only 4,000 odd miles, less than 4,100 by the way. So I was like, that's a little bit premature for this bottom bracket to have gone bad, but it has gone bad. So I'm going to replace it. So let's talk about the tools we need, the methodology that we're going to use, and then what I'm going to replace it with. All right, so to remove a crankset, you'll need, or a Shimano crankset, you'll need a 5mm Allen head. You'll need a flathead screwdriver, a small one, because there's a safety catch here on the crank arm. So you need to be able to move that safety catch out of the way. And you'll also need this tool from Shimano or some other like a Park tool, but you need to get this little preload nut off. That adds the preload to the bearings. Okay, so those are the tools you need to remove it. But then in this case, we are going to remove the bottom bracket. And so oftentimes, if it's a smaller bottom bracket, I ride Shimano cranksets, so you'll need a smaller bottom bracket tool like this or like this. These are usually good for BB30, press fit 30, and so on. And those are the tools to get the bottom bracket out, and a hammer. And now typically you'll want to do this without the customer around, because they probably don't understand that you need a hammer to get a bottom bracket out. All right, when it's time to install the bottom bracket, I like a good quality grease, so I use Phil Woods or Phil's grease, but you could use anything as long as it's a good high quality waterproof grease. And in this case, we're going to put on a Shimano bottom bracket. What's coming out is an FSA bottom bracket, and it just didn't last. But this is a Dura-Ace level BB92, BB86 bottom bracket, and it's right here. And when I take the other one out, you'll see that these cups are made out of aluminum on the FSA bottom bracket, but on this one, they are a high quality plastic. Now, I've had these bottom brackets in bikes much longer, but during the global pandemic, I was building this bike August of last year, and the Shimano bottom brackets were completely out of stock for many months, so I had to use an FSA one. And then to install the bottom bracket, it depends on what size the bottom bracket is. You might have to use a headset press like this, or you might get away with something smaller like this. So let's move over to the bike and let's see. I've already started to remove the bottom bracket. So now what we'll do is, you want to be on that side of me? So now what we'll do is we'll hammer out the rest of the bottom bracket. So I've already done a portion of this so that it would be faster during our video. So We're going to take this bottom bracket, drive side out. Here it is. And then the other one, the non-drive side, we're going to press that one, or bang it out, not press it. So you need this tool here, and this will catch inside. Then you have to hammer it out. All right. Normally it takes a lot more than that, but I had already prepped it. And the reason we're removing this bottom bracket is because these bearings are bad and they are notchy. So we're going to replace it. All right. So first things first, we will now clean this bottom bracket area. And all you need is any type of cleaning solution. I use just plain soapy water. And on Tuesday, it was raining, and we already had a good group of people coming to town, so we went ahead and did the ride anyway. But generally here in Southern California, San Diego, we don't ride in the rain. But we went ahead and did the ride anyway. So that's why the bike is dirty. And now that it's after hours, I get a chance to work on my bike for a few minutes. Okay, so we've cleaned the bottom bracket area. And now we take some grease, rub it on the inside of the bottom bracket area. This is also a good time to inspect everything, make sure that there's no cracks or anything like that, which I did before we started the video. And if you lube things up, not only is it easier for installation, but let's just say that's going to be in there for a long period of time, it also helps with disassembly. Now, with these bottom brackets, you have a left and right cup. Won't matter that much, but why not install it the way they've set it? So left and right, or right being drive side, and the left being the non-drive side. Now, I like to put these in one at a time to make sure that I don't press them in unevenly. So if I'm trying to do two at the same time, and this fitting is going to go right inside there. So it's a 24 millimeter fitting. So that's going to go there. And just depending on what you have, you may want to do both. If you have a really good tool, you can do both at the same time. So in this case, because I have the proper tool, I'm just going to slowly press this in. Okay, and you'll just keep an eye on it, and you'll see, because it was greased outside of the bike, and then the actual bottom bracket area was greased beforehand, you'll start to see that it just presses in nice and easy. Okay, and basically what you're hearing knocking is the tool as it reaches each next new tightening part. Okay, so there it is. It's in. You give it one more just to make sure it's in properly, and then release and unscrew your bearing press, and then you got your 2 cups, and everything is slippery, so it's a little harder to get out. So that's all in right now, and you want to make sure it's flush against the frame. You cannot have any gap there. And so I've inspected the other side as well. And now we're just going to simulate this because I do need to clean this crankset before I do a final installation. But I wanted to show you at least these steps. Now you just put your crankset back on, press that in, and then you put the left crank arm on, torque it, and you're ready to ride again. So that's how you remove and install a bottom bracket, BB86. In this case, it's a Bianchi XR4, but it could possibly be a Trek, it could be something else. And it's just the principle. The process is what's important here. You can use these same type of principles or process on different types of bottom brackets. And so hopefully you found this informational. Hopefully you found it educational, maybe entertaining. And if you thought the video was worthwhile, please smash that like button and share it with some of your friends. In the meantime, thank you so much, and we'll see you up the road.